All right, we are live. Could not possibly be more to talk about. I'm going to talk about the indictment. I'll talk about the guilty plea that some of you may not actually have heard of involving George Papadopoulos. I will tell you about the total and complete shutdown of the David Pakman Show's Amazon affiliate link, which is bad. It's really, really not good. And I will tell you about that a little bit later. Other piece of news, there is also now Patreon is now fully integrated with our on-screen graphics for contributions up here and the donations that appear somewhere around here, I guess. And you will see that as we see contributions come in at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. They show up as pledged. So I ran a bunch of tests before we started. Those are the ones you're seeing now. And they show pledged as opposed to just a dollar amount. So that's exciting. And in the wake of the total and complete shutdown of our Amazon affiliate link, that will be very, very useful and hopefully will bring in some new Patreon contributors. So before we get started, number one, if this is your first live stream, we are really live. Unless we're not, these are archived and you can watch them at your leisure afterwards. So if it's not live, it's because you are watching a recorded live stream. But normally they're live, and because they're live, you can, and actually I have a new version of this graphic that I didn't bring in. You can ask questions and send comments not only through Super Chat, but also through Streamlabs. So you can use Super Chat, which is the $ at the bottom of the chat window. Jacob Ball is on the ball. He already sent in a contribution, a question before we even started, and I'll get to that one momentarily. You can also use streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. The link is in the description. That circumvents the 30% fee that YouTube takes from Super Chat, so we end up with more of that money. And new members and patrons will get live thank yous and shout outs during the stream. As I mentioned, patrons will also get on-screen recognition because we now have integrated Patreon with that with Streamlabs, which runs those graphics. So that's a really good thing. And please don't troll. Obvious trolling will get you banned. A lot of people are banned, shockingly. I mean, not a lot in the context of our 402,000 plus subscribers at this point, but a stunningly high number of people get themselves banned by just coming in and repeating the word cuck a million times or calling me a Jew bastard, stuff like that. But subtle trolling probably won't get you banned because the moderators won't notice. So the big news today, major news. Now remember, I've been dealing with the trolls saying, David, you're a moron. There will never be charges. This investigation is going nowhere. Nothing is going to happen ever. And of course, today we had former Trump campaign manager and campaign chairman Paul Manafort indicted on 12 counts, as well as Rick Gates, his business partner. And the big news is not the content of the charges themselves. It was obvious when news broke of the specific charges this morning. We all knew exactly what the reaction from Trumpists was going to be. The reaction was going to be, none of this stuff has anything to do with Trump or the campaign, and it all took place before the campaign. Neither of those is true. Number one, a bunch of the indictments have to do with activities that took place during the campaign. So it's just flat out not true to say that the timing of what Paul Manafort is accused of has nothing to do with the Trump campaign. But the big picture that people are missing is that the mere fact that there are charges against Paul Manafort is the connection. And you are not going to see this, certainly not from Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and we'll talk about her stunning, absolutely stunning press briefing today. You are not going to hear this from any committed Trumpists. Manafort was hired by Trump, and he is the link between Trump and Russia. The idea that the charges don't link Trump to any of this, Manafort is the link. So that's number one. Now, beyond that, George Papadopoulos has pled guilty to lying to the FBI in connection with the Trump-Russia investigation. Why did we learn about that today? It happened at the beginning of the month. That's interesting. And it might have been a strategic decision by Robert Mueller to combine the release of that information that George Papadopoulos pled guilty with the news today that these indictments have come forward. And the reason for that would be a signal, potentially, to future people who are going to be interviewed by the FBI, by Robert Mueller's team, that if you lie to us about this, you are going to be charged, and we already have guilty pleas. We already have a guilty plea in the Trump-Russia investigation. You're not going to hear that said in these terms on Fox News. You're not going to hear it from Sean Hannity. Check out his tweets, by the way. Check out what I retweeted from Sean Hannity today at @dpackman on Twitter. So we have a guilty plea already. The idea, we often hear, we've only now seen charges. The goalposts have been moved so far that they're in the parking lot of the stadium at this point. We've only seen charges. We've not seen any guilty pleas because Manafort pleaded not guilty and Gates pled not guilty. Well, no. George Papadopoulos already pled guilty on October 3rd or 5th or something like that. So do not fall for what the right is telling you, for what the ideologically committed Trumpists are telling you. Now let's talk about legal strategy. Why go with these indictments now if these aren't the ones that most directly link Trump to collusion? Okay? Very good question. The answer, we don't know the answer, but the answer may well be, in such a wide-ranging investigation, you start with your strongest cases and you start with the people who are more likely to flip and cooperate and let you work up, maybe up to and including in the Oval Office, okay? And it is very widely accepted legal strategy. You don't start with the most difficult cases to prove with the highest possible people. Manafort, clearly it seems that they've got him dead to rights. 12 counts here. We know they've been investigating Manafort for a long time. Robert Mueller brought in specialists in money laundering and financial crimes. So it makes sense that you go and charge Manafort first. You now create a possibility of Manafort or others who have not yet been indicted but are not at the highest levels of this to say, hey, you know what? This is real. This is my opportunity to talk to the FBI, implicate the higher-ups, and get myself out. And I gave this example on the broadcast program today. Sammy the Bull Gravano admitted to killing almost 24 people, okay? Mob-connected guy, mobster. He got sentenced to something like 5 years. Most people don't get sentenced to just 5 years when they admit to multiple killings, okay? And the reason for that, there's a number of reasons, but a primary reason for that is that he flipped and he allowed the FBI and investigators to go after bigger higher-ups, right? So this is what you have to understand about the strategy about what's going on here. And the talking points are totally predictable. This doesn't implicate Trump. Okay, well, look at Watergate. Look at when you had the first charges in Watergate, and look at the fact that it took almost or just over, I think it's just under 2 years until you had the resignation of Richard Nixon. So prepare yourselves. Sarah, we're going to be doing a full breakdown, 17 or 20-minute press briefing today from Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who I believe, along with Jared Kushner and Sebastian Gorka, are the most vile and disgusting associates of the Trump administration, current or former. I think she is right up there. And every time I say it, people say you're fat shaming, and it has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with Sarah Huckabee Sanders' physical appearance. I find her demeanor and her sort of audacity to lie in this aggressive way. Sean Spicer at least seemed kind of beta when he would tell his lies. Sarah Huckabee Sanders tells the lies with such audacity and such boldness that it is even more vile, I believe, than the lies that we heard day after day after day from Sean Spicer. So we are going to be covering all of that, and it is stunning that this is what we're dealing with and that this is what's going on. And remember, you had endless apologists for the Trump administration saying, we're never going to see a serious investigation. Well, we had a serious investigation. We're never going to see anything in the Trump dossier confirmed. More and more of the Trump dossier has been confirmed. We're never going to see charges. We're never going to see charges. We have charges at the highest level at this time, and this is going to be it is, maybe an inappropriate term because of the revelations about Kevin Spacey, which we talked about on today's bonus show, but this is a house of cards, and this is merely the beginning. Sarah Huckabee Sanders today is trying to insist that this is going to be wrapping up soon. Mueller's going to be wrapping up soon. Ask for evidence as to why this is going to be wrapping up soon. Sarah Huckabee Sanders could present no evidence. And I believe that this is not going to be wrapping up anytime soon. Let's jump into some of the Super Chat comments as well as some of the Streamlabs contributions, because there are many of them. A lot of people wanting to get involved in the discussion here. Let's start with Jacob Ball. $5. Do you think Trump would ever resign? Would he force a vote for impeachment if it came down to it? Would Republicans actually vote for impeachment? I believe Trump would resign if he was convinced he was about to be impeached. I do not believe that he would force the impeachment vote if he really believed he was about to be impeached, and I think it's going to be a tough sell for Republicans to vote for impeachment of Donald Trump. Legit British has sent a one British pound super chat. No question or comment. Thank you very much. JHWH Gadol has sent a €5 super chat. You sounded positively giddy on today's show at the prospect of Trump's enablers being indicted. Have not seen you this happy for a while. You misread my emotional state. It's not about being happy. It's about the possibility that justice will be served. And I don't know that it will be, but this is a beginning. This is just a start. And to be quite honest, I'm sad. It's actually sad and angering that this is where we are, that we have this going on right now with our government, rather than anything that is going to be good for the middle class or any of the groups Trump promised to help, other than the really rich, who will benefit from his tax proposal if it goes through. Really AZ No Kidding has sent a $2 super chat saying, keep it up. Thank you, I will. Juan Garcia has sent a $5 super chat. Were you a fan of Eric the Actor from Howard Stern Show? Absolutely. Big fan of Eric the Actor. And it was a sad day when he passed away, and one of the providers of just some of the best, absolute best comedy of the Howard Stern Show over the decades. So big fan of Eric the Actor, no doubt about it. Olivia Vengada has sent a $10 super chat. It's a negative one. David has less credibility than mainstream media, secular talk, and even the Young Turks, because he didn't even have the balls to cover the Clinton dossier uranium scandal. Eat a bite of crow, you sad excuse for a news journalist. Olivia, I really appreciate that $10 contribution to our program. Thank you. Juan Garcia has sent a $2 super chat, the politically correct version of F, Marry, Kill. Romantic Marry, Reject. Sarah Palin, Tommy Lauren, Ivanka. I guess Ivanka Trump. I would probably reject Palin, marry Ivanka, and be romantic with Tommy Lauren. That's my instinct. And then Juan Garcia coming up with another $2 super chat. Who's better, Leo Messi or Ronaldo? Leo Messi 100%. I mean, just absolutely not a question. Not a question at all. God of Path has sent a $5 super chat. How can one counter the already happening Trumpist pivot to Hillary Podesta, Ukraine-Russia links? I predicted it would happen. The way to counter it is to proceed. Please proceed. As President Obama once said to Willard Mittens Romney, stick to the facts and stick with the double standards and stick with the goalposts moving, right? There was never anything to see and there would be no special prosecutor. Well, one was appointed. There would never be anything in the Trump dossier proven to be true. Endless elements of the Trump-Russia dossier have now been proven to be true. We would never see charges. Well, we've now got charges. So remind the committed Trumpists that they have absolutely no credibility at this point. Zero credibility on any of these issues, because they've been wrong all along and they cannot be trusted, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders cannot be trusted, and there's no other way to say, why would we listen to any of you? If Robert Mueller comes out and talks to us about Hillary and uranium, then we'll think about it. But in the meantime, there's no point whatsoever in even talking about that. I have some sad news. I was just notified minutes before going live with you here that the David Pakman Show's Amazon affiliate link has been kiboshed. It has been totally shut down. There have been a number of programs, YouTube channels and other shows that used the Amazon affiliate link to fundraise that have lost it, and we are the next. And this represented about 10% of our yearly revenue. It became a bigger and bigger part of our revenue over time, and it's gone. And this is a bummer. This is a bummer because we started the year really, really strongly. And then we had YouTube adpocalypse, YouTube demonetization, which crushed, absolutely crushed our revenue. And I've shown you that revenue curve before. And we started to build some of that back up through Patreon. And it then imploded once again. And it is such a disappointment now to have lost that amount of revenue, particularly because we were only just starting to recover from the crushing impact of YouTube adpocalypse. And if you don't remember adpocalypse or just have forgotten about it, adpocalypse happened when the Wall Street Journal and a couple of other media outlets pointed out that, hey, occasionally some advertisements will sneak through the YouTube ad algorithm, which is supposed to prevent ads from showing up on racist or hateful content. And there's a really, really good ad that is on the, or a really, really good article about this in Wired magazine, which is by Davey Alba. And it basically outlines every aspect of how this has affected the David Pakman Show. There is another article that you can check out, which is in the New York Times, and it has also talked about how this has absolutely and utterly crushed the David Pakman Show. And I've talked about it before, and we were just starting to make headway, and all of a sudden, today, we get crushed and lose our affiliate link. So first and foremost, right, number one most important thing, thanks to everybody who has used our Amazon affiliate link over the years, but it is no more, and that is why it is going to be even more important over the coming months that we replace that revenue, as if this is not as if this is a problem that I wanted to deal with. But I do invite you to make a contribution at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. We have an animation that will appear on screen if you make any contribution via Patreon at all. Nobody has done that yet, but you will see your name appear up in this list as soon as you do it, and you will also see an animation down here similar to the Super Chat animation, but a different Super Mario animation. So it's a bummer, and it's just we've really been taking it on the chin this year, and we're working as hard as we can to produce more and more content, and then sadly we're dealing with one revenue hit after another. So I hope people will consider, particularly if you ever use that Amazon link, maybe replace that with $1 or $2 at patreon.com/David Pakman Show, and you'll be doing a lot, and it's bad. It's really, really bad out there. Let me get back here to some of the Super Chat questions that are going on. Sean Hansen has sent a $10 Super Chat. I've seen a lot of talk about Trump getting Mueller fired or dismissed. Do you think this is even a remote possibility? No, I think at this point Donald Trump knows that Mueller is too far in. It would be an absolute and utter scandal. It would be political suicide at this point to fire Robert Mueller. And we did a segment on the show today about Fox News's Judge Jeanine Pirro, who's absolutely disgusting. And she said, as a result of the indictment news, it's time to shut down the investigation and to lock up Hillary Clinton. And how someone could come away with that conclusion from what we learned over the last 48 hours, I don't know. GameFire74 has sent a $6.81 Super Chat. I am a CPA, and I want to thank you for your Republican 401k story. If anything, you understated the damage to the middle class. The $18,000 401k contribution cap down to $2,400 is a disaster. Yeah, if you're not aware of that, some versions of the Republican tax plan would lower the yearly contribution limit for individual taxpayers to 401ks from $18,000 to $2,400. Those contributions are tax deductible. The rich don't need 401ks. They have much more sophisticated vehicles that they can use, self-funded pension plans and many other methods. So this is hugely regressive. It is a destructive blow to the middle class if it happens, and we outlined that in some detail today on the David Pakman Show. Brody Andrew Mulligan sent a $2 Super Chat. When will you play the drums or your practice pad? Yeah, I've got my drums and my practice pad back here. And you know what I'll tell you? If we get to 1984 Patreon contributors tonight. I will play a little something for you on my practice pad. We're at 1966. My year of birth was 1984. That's only 18 Patreon contributions. It's about 3% of the people on the stream right now. If we get to 1,984 Patreon contributions, I will drag the practice pad over and play a little double stroke roll for you. And you will also see a nice animation pop up because now we have Patreon fully integrated with our on-screen graphics. So something to think about. If that's interesting, consider making a Patreon contribution. Juan Garcia has sent a $5 super chat. As a fan of your show, I have to say that I am stunned that less than 1% of subscribers donate. Come on, people, help this man out. He's the best progressive on YouTube. Thanks, Juan. You've been here for a while, and you've been contributing generously, and I appreciate that. That's true. We estimate that under 1% of our total audience contributes anything financially, and that's why we only need to make a very small increase. If we can get to 2 or 3% of our audience making any kind of a contribution, even what I consider sort of the smallest possible contribution, which is $1 a month through Patreon, if we can just get to 2 or 3%, the program would be so well funded that we could grow and do more things, and I'd never have to talk to you about fundraising, because honestly, I don't want to. I'd rather talk about other things, but the fundraising is a necessity. Oscar Edge has sent a 100 Swedish kroner super chat. How much is that? 100 SEK to US dollars. I think it's about 6. Let's see. No, 11.96. Thank you. Very generous contribution. Appreciate that. Pamela Brewer has sent a $2 super chat with no question or comment. Thank you. GR has sent a $10 super chat. Stick a fork in Manafort. Boy bout to be eating spam with a spork with huckaboo. In Trump-colored jumpsuit. Sell the Trump stock and watch Trump breaking rocks and slip-on shoes and ankle socks. Very nice rhyming, GR. Appreciate that. Pamela Brewer with another $2 super chat. And Oscar Edge with a 20 Swedish kroner contribution. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let me go over to streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. That's the other place you can contribute and circumvent YouTube's $30 super chat cut. Sean has sent a $7 Streamlabs contribution. Love the show. Keep up the good work. I'm going to be seeing Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris in Vancouver in a few days, and I'm wondering what I should ask them in the Q&A. Ask them why they've never been on the David Pakman Show. I've invited both of them. Richard Dawkins' staff wrote back and said he'd be interested, and then they never came back with some possible dates. Try as we might to secure a date. Sam Harris has never responded to interview requests. That is the question that you should ask. Why have you not been on the David Pakman Show? And that would be a really good thing. Make that happen. Let's do it. Back over to Super Chat. We have a $5 super chat from Belgarath 1966. Which is more significant for getting us closer to a Trump impeachment? Papadopoulos' guilty plea or Manafort's indictment? I'm not thinking about it in those terms. I do believe that the Papadopoulos guilty plea is more definitively damning in terms of the activities of the Trump campaign, because it's very easy, although I think it's a specious argument, it is easy to bamboozle people by saying Manafort and Gates have been charged. Accusations and indictments are not proof of anything. So far, no wrongdoing has been actually legally indicated. But a guilty plea from Papadopoulos is closer to irrefutable wrongdoing, although of course you will have some people who will say, hey, listen, he was being railroaded. He had to plead guilty because he would have been railroaded by a total kangaroo court had he fought the charges or something like that. I don't know. But I do think that the Papadopoulos guilty plea is in the immediate. It's very powerful, is I guess what I'm getting at. Lavan Ganavadi has sent a $20 super chat. with just a smiley face wearing sunglasses. No question or comment. Thank you very much. Susan Payne has sent a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Jacob Ball has sent a $5 super chat. Is having only 1% of your audience supporting you typical on YouTube? How does that compare to the Young Turks or Secular Talk? I don't know. I don't know, Jacob, but it is depressing. It is absolutely depressing. Brody Andrew Mulligan, $3 super chat. When will Pat be back on the regular show? Pat was on the regular show Friday. We heard from Pat during audience questions. I think he chimed in during phone calls as well. Pat's role is constantly evolving, but Pat has been still regularly on the regular show. He had some great contributions today on the bonus show. So no particular plan. Everybody's roles are constantly evolving on the show, and Pat's there. Pat's right in there. Gamefire74 sent a $2 super chat. Thanks for no live stream during Rachel Maddow's hour. Yeah, I had to do an earlier live stream today. Because I actually have, very, very exciting, I have a condo board meeting. I'm on the board of my condo association. And we have a board meeting going on later today. So that affected the schedule for today's live stream. So thanks very much. Okay, let me do a couple thank yous here because we do have thank yous happening. Of course, membership continues to be the #1 funding source for the David Pakman Show. And I want to welcome Andrew Church, who has just made a new membership at davidpakman.com/membership. And it is a very, very big thing. I appreciate it. I also want to thank, and I don't know why this didn't work. There's supposed to be, let me see here. I don't see... We just had a new Patreon pledge from Min Chol Zhang, who pledged $2 a month. I hope I didn't butcher your name there. I assume I did. And the names are supposed to show up here, but I'm not seeing it. That's really weird. I don't know why that's happening. Let me see if I can check out, if I go over here to my Streamlabs interface. Let me do a test pledge here. John pledged $58 via Patreon, and then it shows up here. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. I don't know why that wouldn't. I'm gonna have to check that out. Why would that not be working? Integrations. I don't know what the setting is, but Patreon is engaged right now, so I don't know why. I don't know why it wouldn't work. I apologize for that. But in any case, thank you very, very much. Thanks to everybody who has been contributing through Patreon and through all of those other platforms. But I will try to get that fixed in advance for the next live stream because I want that to show up. And also thanks to Richard Ogilvy, who has upped his pledge at patreon.com/David Pakman Show from $1 a month to $5 a month. Very, very exciting, and I really do appreciate that. Every Patreon contributor makes a difference. Mario Sunyik has made a €4 super chat. Keep going from a Croat in Vienna, Austria. Thank you very much. And Danny Raman has sent a $2 super chat using the $sign at the bottom of the chat window. Thanks very much. Really appreciate that. And we've got a lot of big things coming up for the David Pakman Show. We're going to be digging in tomorrow. If you thought that the news ended with the indictment of Paul Manafort and Gates and the release of we learned about the guilty plea from George Papadopoulos, a Trump associate involved in foreign policy, advising guilty plea for lying to the FBI. If you thought that was the end of it, just you wait, because tomorrow's program is going to be huge. We have seen Donald Trump's approval rating crash all the way down to a new Gallup rolling approval rating average of 33%. His previous low was 34% in the Gallup poll. He has now hit 33%, and that's data from before the news of this indictment broke. I don't necessarily expect the indictment to push Trump's approval rating down, but I certainly don't believe it's going to help. So very, very interesting that yet again, Donald Trump has hit another new low in terms of approval rating. We were going to, I've been watching today's Sarah Huckabee Sanders press briefing like the Zapruder film. I'm slowing it down and checking every vile sneer that she puts on her face. but it is stunning. We are going to have, how many clips did I flag from this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different clips from Sarah Huckabee Sanders' press briefing today. Unhinged denials and misdirections when it comes to the indictment of Paul Manafort. I believe that today for Donald Trump was the worst day of his presidency so far. And as one of our Reddit users pointed out, Paul Manafort and Gates indicted. We learned George Papadopoulos pled guilty to lying to the FBI as part of the Trump-Russia investigation. Record low Trump approval rating, and Trump's transgender military ban has been halted by a court. Today was the worst day for Donald Trump's administration since the beginning of this, what do we have so far? 9 months and 10 days of his administration. We'll be talking about that on tomorrow's program. We'll be talking about the court blocking Trump's military transgender ban. We've learned that more than half of Trump's nominees for different positions have ties, conflicts of interest within the industries they're supposed to be regulating. We learned that the cross-check system being used to remove voters from the voter rolls in Indiana, that the system is 99% inaccurate. 99% of those removed by the system are valid voters who shouldn't be removed from the system. So tomorrow is one of the biggest shows in a long time on the David Pakman Show. Let's go over to some of the Streamlabs comments. Streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. Min sent a $1 comment. I've been bamboozled. No name on screen. I apologize, Min. I thought I had set it up so that when someone makes a Patreon pledge at patreon.com/David Pakman Show, that there is supposed to be an animation that comes up on screen. And when I tested it, which I'll do again just to show you that I was not deliberately bamboozling you. Let me see if I can do this. Is it working? It's not even working. I'm not even able. Let me see if I can do this. Go over to pledges here and do a test pledge. What's supposed to happen, and I thought that this was a really cool integration. What's supposed to happen when someone makes a pledge at patreon.com/David Pakman Show is that your name comes up here along with all these other people who are making contributions through Streamlabs and through Super Chat. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen. It didn't happen when Min made that contribution. Let's do a test pledge. And there it is. See, the test works. It shows up as pledged over here, and then this cool animation comes up down here. I don't know why it didn't work, and I'm going to reach out to Streamlabs in advance of the next one. But believe me, I appreciate it just as much, Min. I appreciate it just as much, despite the fact that the animation didn't play. And Joe has sent a $2.64 Patreon contribution. Under Super Chat, we've got a couple other comments here under Super Chat. Let's see where I left off. Blue World 13 sent a $2 Super Chat. Thank you very much. Jacob Ball sent a $2 Super Chat. You should do early live streams more often. I'd love to be doing more live streams in general, Jacob, but it's tough. It's tough with my schedule. Actual Justice Warrior sent a $5 Super Chat. How do you feel about the JFK files revealing that they sent Hitler and many top Nazis to Argentina, which has been a safe and close Jewish community? Hitler was sent to Argentina? I did not hear that. I was under the impression Hitler died. FBI files prove Adolf Hitler escaped to Argentina. Snopes has an article about this, and they have said that that's false. Yeah, they say that that's absolutely not true. Yeah, I'll have to read that, but it appears as though that is fake news. Ramstein Rules 16 sent a $20 Canadian Super Chat. Hey Dave, I've been a subscriber for a little while now. Love what you do. What do you see the progression of politics in the U.S. in your future? What would you like to see? All the best and all the support from Vancouver, British Columbia. I would like to see, I think the two big issues are, number one, money in politics, and number two, we need instant runoff voting. The real path forward for a restructuring of American politics in a way that I think would be good would require. We got to get rid of Citizens United. We have to really change how politics is paid for. And then we need to put in place instant runoff voting. I think instant runoff voting would enable the rise of third parties because people could say, okay, I'd like to vote for this third party candidate, but I don't want to inadvertently help the person I really disagree with win. So with instant runoff voting, you could say my number one choice is whatever third party candidate. If after one tally they are not viable as the winner, then shift my vote over to this other person. And it's a really good system for preventing people who would like to support a third party candidate from inadvertently helping the real nut job, for lack of a better term, to win. So that's what I would like to see. Laura Lee sent a £2 super chat. Any UK visit plans? Love the show from London. I was in the UK under a year ago. At the end, I think it was close to the end of 2016. I spent a week in London and I enjoyed the city. I did not so much enjoy the cuisine. British cuisine did not strike me as great, but I had some of the best Indian food of my life in London, which was tremendous. JHWH Gadol has sent a €10 super chat. Your interviews were really interesting lately, but there was always a lot of agreement. Were there not many controversial figures on? Or being from Austria, do I just not know them? I don't know. I mean, we're getting more no's, actually, from people who, where it would be an adversarial interview. Interestingly enough, we're getting more and more no's. And I think it might be because they're researching interviews that we've done with adversarial people. And maybe some of them don't want to be on. But I've got some stuff up my sleeve that I'm working on. Ceci Canales has sent a $25 super chat, the high watermark for today. $25 is the high watermark. 2501 is the challenge. 2501. And over at streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show, Gigantic has sent a $5 Streamlabs contribution. Hey chat, which sounds cooler? Can't crack the pack or leader of the pack? Okay, Gigantic is asking all of you fine folks that question. Which do you like better? For what? I don't know. Can't crack the pack or leader of the pack? Okay, well, there you go. People can judge for themselves. I do want to thank Deborah Smith. Deborah Smith has signed up for a new membership. No coupon code, level 2 membership. Deborah Smith, thank you. Very, very generous, and I really appreciate that. Deborah Smith signing up at davidpakman.com/membership. She paid full price, but you don't have to pay full price. You can use the coupon code IVoted17, as you can see here on page 2 of the sign up. You input the code IVoted17, and that will save you 40%. Who doesn't like 40% savings? I think it's absolutely fantastic. And let's do this Patreon thing, okay? I apologize. I thought that I had it all set up so that you would see your name pop up here when you make a Patreon contribution, but I'll do you one better. Any Patreon contributions that come in between now and the end of the stream, you won't just see your name pop up on screen. I will personally thank you and talk about what a great person you are. And I mentioned earlier in the stream, we have just suffered another financial hardship at the David Pakman Show. It's like a comedy of errors, except there's nothing funny about it. We had this thing called an Amazon affiliate link for a long time. And people could use the link and then they would buy stuff on Amazon and we would get a little bit of money. And it's been shut down. And other YouTubers and podcasters have talked about the fact that their Amazon affiliate links have been shut down for being used inappropriately, because more than likely, we're not really doing what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do is like have a website about tennis rackets, and then you recommend and review tennis rackets. And people who use your links to buy tennis rackets, you get a little bit of a cut from that from Amazon. We're just basically up front and we say, if you're going to shop on Amazon, use our link and we'll get a kickback. And apparently that is in violation of Amazon's terms and conditions. So a bunch of us have started getting our Amazon links shut down, and it happened like a half hour ago, right before I went on the live stream. So it's a very small ask that I have, which is if you can afford it, if you can afford $1 a month, I'm not talking about a lot of money, $1 a month, right? We're talking about 3 cents a day please make a pledge at patreon.com/davidpakmanshow. And it's not just charity, because we produce extra content for our Patreon contributors. You get the bonus show at the $5 level. You get the bonus show in the full show at the $10 level. You can also get those member benefits as a member, right, at davidpakman.com/membership. And we've got some really great stuff planned. As you can see at the bottom left of this screen, it says 1966 out of 2000. When we reach 2,000 patrons, I'll do an entire broadcast show from the studio with my hair like this. And that is the target. That's what happens at 2,000 patrons. But if you click the little right arrow next to where it says Goals View All, you'll see that we also have a goal of 2,500 patrons. And when we hit 2,500 patrons, we will be producing in fully edited and really nicely done format. We are going to take my 12 lectures from the college class that I've been teaching at Boston College and turn them into 75-minute YouTube lectures with slides, examples, videos, the entire thing, okay? And I think that that's going to be something everybody will really like. Our Patreon contributors will get early access to those lectures, and they will eventually be made available to everybody on YouTube. And we talk about epistemology and critical thinking and media literacy. We do analysis of advertisements. We do media fallacy, logical fallacy, and media bias discussions. It's really, really great stuff, and we've committed to doing that once we get to 2,500 patrons. So please get those contributions in. Sidemodder, I don't know how you pronounce your name, has just pledged $2 a month, and that's a really, really great thing. I appreciate that. Please keep those contributions coming, and I promise I will thank every single one of you who makes a Patreon contribution. Everybody deserves it. I appreciate the generosity. And I encourage you to make those contributions. And one other thank you to Leslie Loudermilk, who has made a $2 super chat pledge, and I appreciate that. Today on the broadcast show, I interviewed a former CIA operations agent, and Mark Sageman is his name, and we talked about the origins and catalysts for terror and radicalization. And it was a very interesting interview. The full interview will be out on YouTube later. We have part 1 of that interview on today's broadcast show. Part 2 of the interview will be on tomorrow's. Very, very interesting interview. On Wednesday, I'll be interviewing Graham Allison. Graham Allison will be interviewed on Wednesday. And he's a professor at the Harvard Kennedy School. If you're not familiar with Graham Allison, I encourage you to Google his name. Google Graham Allison, Harvard, and his name will come up. And when he joins me, we are going to be talking about China as a superpower. Graham Allison makes the case that China is already the world's superpower. We often have these discussions of, well, the way things are headed, China is going to be the next, the world superpower. The world superpower, I guess is what I mean. And he says, Graham Allison says, China's already the world superpower. We'll be talking to him on Wednesday. And then Thursday, by popular demand, I will be interviewing endocrinologist Robert Lustig, Dr. Robert Lustig. He is known for talking about sugar and the dangers of high sugar consumption for human health. And he has a new book called Hacking the American Mind. For years, people have been telling me, David, please interview Dr. Robert Lustig. And we've gotten it booked, and I'm going to be interviewing him, and I think it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic interview. So that's what's upcoming on the program. Ninjax X has sent a $10 super chat. Remember when I said Trump was a Russian puppet? How about that indictment? Now we all know the White House will be all like, oh, he just got us coffee sometimes. But seriously, it's obvious now. Yeah, we replayed today the Sean Spicer clip where Spicer said, listen, Manafort worked for the campaign for a couple weeks and he had a minor role. That's going to have to be the line. Sarah Huckabee Sanders today said that that George Papadopoulos, who pled guilty, we learned earlier this month, to lying to FBI investigators in the course of the Trump-Russia investigation, he was some minor player, wasn't a big deal, he didn't really do anything. That's going to be the line, so you're absolutely right. $5 super chat from Brian Rasmussen. What do you think has a larger influence on a person's political affiliation? Education level, economic standing, or family affiliation? Family affiliation. Sorry, I just hit my desk here. Probably was loud. I believe family affiliation, much more so than anything else, is an indicator of your likely politics. However, education level and economic standing do influence that. But I think that if you have a progressive family, you are very likely to be progressive. There could be economic factors or education factors that might push you the other direction, right? People go against the politics of their parents all the time, but I think family affiliation statistically would be the most highly correlated with political beliefs. GameFire74, $2 super chat. Are you getting married? How long y'all been together? Been together a long time? Can't say, nothing to announce. Nothing to announce about pending pending nuptials at this time. Jacob Ball has sent a $5 super chat. Trump would never say, oh, he just got us coffee. It would be, oh, he just got us Cobb Pfeffy. Yeah, good correction to Ninjax X's comment. It's Cobb Pfeffy when it comes to Trump, not coffee. Couple other contributions and questions over at streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. Gigantic sent a $5 super chat. David, I think not super chat, Streamlabs contribution. David, I think I speak for everyone here when I actually love it when you do influencer advertising. When you reviewed those shoes that would cure you of your lack of height compared to Pat and Lewis. Chat, look up Vivid Edge Media to see funny Pakman ads. Yeah, we were more actively pursuing this for a while, but I've laid off of it a little bit. But I did once review some, basically they're lifts. They're shoes that inside of them have sort of like a heel padding. And they gave me, I think it was like 2.5 extra inches. And 2.5 extra inches makes a big difference. You can talk to people about that, but every inch can make a major difference in life. That's for sure. What else here? Sicky Hasselblad has set a second, let's see, Ceci Canales sent a $25 super chat. So this is second place, $23.94 Streamlabs contribution. Without that David Pakman Show, the world would be a darker place. Donate to hope you will stay on air. I'm already a member. Thank you so much. And just for people who don't know, when people contribute to the David Pakman Show, there's way more going on than just YouTube clips. A lot of people don't know this. And when I say a lot of people don't know this, I don't mean what Trump means, which is I didn't know this until 2 minutes ago. I actually mean a lot of people don't know this. The David Pakman Show is on 200 broadcast radio and TV stations. Those are non-commercial stations, community radio and community television stations. They can't afford to pay for our show, so we charge them nothing. I see it not only as a community service, I see it as a community duty. That if I am producing this show, I need to provide it to as many community stations as possible to get alternative media viewpoints out to people who might otherwise be getting no political news at all or just the sort of status quo corporate media outlines. So your donations of even $1 a month are funding the distribution of our show to 200 radio and television stations around the country, as well as DirecTV and Dish Network through Free Speech TV. We pay for all that stuff, right? We pay rent at the studio, we pay for staff, we pay for connectivity, we pay for technology. We create different versions of the show so that it will work with the file systems of our different affiliates. That is heavily subsidized when you go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show and throw in $1. That is heavily subsidized by you going to davidpakman.com/membership and signing up for a $3.60 membership with the coupon code IVoted17. And on that note, I want to say thank you to Sylvia Meadows, who has just signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. I want to say thank you to JD Fenney, who has just signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. I want to thank Jack Whiting, who has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Every single one of you is not only getting the bonus show and the commercial-free full show and those member perks, which are really great for you, but you're also subsidizing the entire production and distribution of our show to these non-commercial radio stations that couldn't afford to pay us even $25 a month for the show. And on that note, I also want to say thank you to Bethany Myers. Bethany Myers has made a pledge of $2 per month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. And I really appreciate that as well. And the offer still stands. If we can get to 1984, I was born in 1984. If we get to 1,984 patrons by the end of the stream, I will pull out the practice drum pad that's over here, and I'll play a little double stroke roll for you and do some rudiments. And I have never done that before on the David Pakman Show, and I think that you would enjoy that. And also thanks to Junis Napanki, who has just signed up for membership at davidpakman.com/membership. Okay, a couple other comments through Super Chat. GR has sent a $2 Super Chat. Gigantic is the coolest. Lauren Thomas is too fine. Lauren, big shout out to Lauren. Lauren is double duty moderator on both our Reddit discussion forum, which is rapidly approaching 5,000 users. And we now have several moderators that are keeping things under control there. And Lauren is also a Super Chat moderator during the live stream. So shout out to her from GR. Juan Garcia has sent a $5 Super Chat. If you were president, what would be your 3 main priorities? Is legal marijuana on the list? I support legal marijuana, and I think that it is an absolute atrocity that marijuana, when we have legal alcohol and cigarettes, that we don't have legal marijuana. That doesn't make sense. Marijuana being scheduled the same way as heroin doesn't make sense. And the war on drugs used to disproportionately prosecute and incarcerate non-white Americans under the guise of making everything better through the war on drugs, which of course doesn't happen. Absolutely terrible. But I don't know that those would be my 3 priorities. I think my 3 priorities, if I were president, which I could never be because I wasn't born in the United States, by the way, would be money in politics, instant runoff voting, and healthcare for all. I think those would be my 3 immediate priorities, all pretty big things. Will Blake 72 has sent a $25 Super Chat, tying today's top Super Chat contribution. Hey, David, you've mentioned dabbling in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Have you considered adding your wallet addresses to your video descriptions to accept one-time tips? Thanks, man. I appreciate what you and the team do. Here's the question, and I don't know the answer, and if one of you can answer it, I will do that. I use Coinbase to make small purchases of cryptocurrency, just kind of to learn about it and dabble in it. It's not something I have a lot of money to contribute to. If I am able to accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin through Coinbase, somebody please let me know how. And I will immediately, particularly since today we lost our Amazon affiliate link and we've got to make up that money somehow, I will immediately add whatever I need to add in order to be able to receive Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum contributions. So if it can be done through Coinbase, where people make contributions and the money goes in directly, please let me know, and I will make that happen by the end of the week, okay? And no doubt about it. GameFire74, $2 Super Chat. I'm in favor of a Second Amendment repeal. Am I alone? You're not alone, but I think it's complex, and I don't think that that's the most pragmatic way to go about fixing the gun safety issue. I'm trying to pick my words carefully here. Sarah Dobson has sent a £250 Super Chat. My first Pakman live show. Favorite part of my day. Thank you. Glad to have you. Vladimir Arauz has sent a $2 Super Chat. Hello from Costa Rica. I would love to go to Costa Rica. I've got a friend who, let me pull up a map of Costa Rica to see if I can describe exactly where this is, Vladimir. Maybe you can follow up and tell us whether my friend is onto something. Costa Rica map. My friend now vacations in a part of Costa Rica that is very, very remote. So you've got the capital of Costa Rica, San Jose. Over on the Pacific Ocean, and if people want to look at a map of Costa Rica with me, by all means, feel free. You've got this peninsula, which appears to be called Peninsula de Nicosia, or as would be pronounced outside of Argentina, Nicoya. And my friend has found some part of that peninsula, which you have to fly into the capital and then take this tiny, tiny plane, like a 16-passenger prop plane, out to. And then it's like an hour ride from there that he says is very unknown to most American tourists, but it started to become popular for some European tourists, in that it is very, very pristine and almost untouched in some ways, and that there are great restaurants being developed, and that it's just a great place with great beaches, and it's not particularly expensive. It's just difficult to get to. So anyway, I'm trying to, it's not like he's keeping it a secret from me. I just don't remember the name of it. I'm very interested in going to Costa Rica, and that's something that's on my radar. Brian Rasmussen has sent a $5 super chat. Why were your parents in Argentina when you were born? Because they were born there. Were they Nazi hunters? They were not. No. 3 of my 4 grandparents were born in Argentina. Both of my parents were born in Argentina, and thus I was born in Argentina as well. Roger Inand has sent a $15 super chat. If you could interview Donald Trump, would you? Of course. I don't know that many people with political talk shows would turn down interviews with the president of the country. And what would you ask? We don't have time for that. But I think I would start with trying to get Trump to admit that he regrets having run for president in the first place. Let's see. Min has sent a $5 streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show contribution. I have a lot of family living in Seoul, and all of the talk of escalation with the DPRK has gotten me very afraid for the safety of my family. Are there things we can do as individuals to influence people like Trump in policy decisions outside of elections? Not when it comes to something like North Korea. Trump is so unhinged that the answer is basically no. We're going to have to hope that his generals, as he says, can prevent him from doing insane stuff when it comes to North Korea. That's just sort of the reality. However, let me give you one positive note. I have several friends here in Boston who are South Korean, family in South Korea. And they say that their families in South Korea are not particularly worried. And now it could be because they're desensitized to constant drama with the DPRK. But it could be because they genuinely don't think it's going to escalate, and hopefully they're right. Gigantic has sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. Should Lewis join Secular Talk? I think it would benefit Kyle to have something other than a heart rate monitor in the background of his videos. Will you give Lewis a good reference? I can assure you that Lewis is not looking at this time to get back into a sort of producer sidekick position. And I can double assure you that he has no interest in moving to the area of I don't know how much Kyle says about where he's located, but New York, period. I'll keep it there because I don't know if Kyle says where he lives. New members to thank. I want to thank Sarah Dobson for signing up at davidpakman.com/membership. Thank you very much, Sarah. I appreciate it. Every single member is making a big difference. I announced at the top of the stream, it's like every day it seems to get worse, but I announced at the top of the stream that we lost our Amazon affiliate link today. A lot of shows like ours have sadly been getting, they've sadly been getting their Amazon affiliate links shut down. And we lost ours today. And we've got to make up for it. I would love to make up for it through Patreon. I would love to make up for it through membership. Both are options. We started the evening at 1,966 patrons. We're up to 1,969. And I've said, if we get to 1,984 patrons, that's the year I was born, I would pull out the old practice pad, the drum practice pad back here, and play a couple rudiments for you. But it's not looking particularly good. It's not looking particularly good right now. Couple other super chats here. I Hate Apricots has sent a $2 super chat. Richard Spencer, alt-right, lives in Whitefish, Montana. Thank you very much. If anybody was wondering where Richard Spencer lives, now we know. Jacob Ball has sent a $5 super chat. Trump might regret having run for president. No one could have known being president president would be so hard. You have to assume at this point Trump absolutely regrets running for president. HK has sent a 10 British pound super chat. I'm in the UK, and my blueberries come from Argentina. That is all I have to say. Yeah, I don't know that I've gotten Argentinian blueberries before. I've had Argentinian pears in the US, and there's a lot of soy is a big thing in Argentina. So presumably I've had Argentinian soy, although I couldn't say for sure. But blueberries, there you go. Very, very exciting. And on that note, I've got to run to my condo board meeting. I'm on the board of my condo association. I was elected. I did not choose to run, but I was elected anyway. And I am choosing to serve an indefinite term, a term of indefinite duration on my condo board. And we've got a meeting in a little bit. So I'm going to get to that. Thanks to everybody who joined me. Make a Patreon contribution, just $1. Just throw in $1. I know many of you can afford it. $1 a month. I will thank you on the next stream. And that'll be soon. It'll be soon.